Hi family, I'm back with another video. I know you all probably been wondering why I haven't did another sit down video because I've been preparing for this video. So thank you family for tuning in. This is a life story of me, not you. So if you want to sit down and hear about my life story, how I became a single mom, you can sit. But for the ones that come in to spectate and to judge, you can go. So I'm here once again to share my life story and give you all an update on some things about my life. So if you all want to tune in and join, like I said, I really appreciate the thumbs up. I really appreciate the support, the comments. Yeah, so we're gonna get right into it. So the first question, I have some Q&A questions about different people want to know certain things about how I became a single mom, and I'm gonna put a little things in there how I became a single mom, and first of all, how I became divorced. So this is a true story, and I'm saying this because I really want to encourage the single mothers. I really want to encourage those that is going through a divorce, those that have been through a divorce. Yeah, it can be hurtful and painful, but God is faithful. If we just continue to trust Him, no matter what, we can get through it. So just like I said, family, the first question is that someone asked me, how I became divorced at 23. How I became divorced is I was living on my own, had my own apartment, taking care of myself. Yes. Had my own apartment where I worked hard throughout the years. After I moved out of my grandma's house, I moved with my sister for a couple of months, and then I finally had got my own place. So I was in my own apartment for about, I would say about 3 to 4 years, taking care of myself, working hard. Didn't have no kids at 23. I was in a relationship at one point while I was living out on my own and taking care of myself, but that didn't work out. So I stayed single for a while, for at least about, I would say about a year or so, year and a half. And then I met my son's father, and everything was going good. We was, start dating each other we met each other from a conference, and we started, communicating and dating and things like that. But I'm not going to prolong it too long, so I'm just trying to give you all bits and pieces because I don't want to have the video so long. So we started dating, getting to know each other, having a good time. And then we was dating for at least about a year and a half. So I decided, me and him, we wanted to get married. And we felt as though that was the best thing because he was saved and I was saved. We was in the church. And I'm not here to bash him because I still respect him as a man. And I want him to respect me. But it's just my life story that I'm telling to you all. Not to offend him, not to, make him feel any type of way. But I'm just telling my life story so that I can encourage you women out there that actually went through a divorce, going through a divorce, to let you all know that what I went through, you trust God, you get up, go to the house of the Lord. God will give you a word to go through whatever you're going through. Um, but like I was saying, I was living on my own. We dated, we spent time with each other. We always spent time with each other. We did family things and stuff like that. But this particular time in my life, after we had got married, I didn't move from out of my apartment. I still kept my apartment. I went and moved with him, which was one of his family members' houses. And so we made this agreement that we wasn't that I was going to keep my place until we found a place out of town from like 2 hours from where I was living at, until we find like our own place, because I don't believe in moving into a family member house and you married, So we just wanted to move to a different city, but I didn't want to give up my place until we find that house, until we move in another house of our own. So, okay, after we got married, everything was going good. I found out that I was pregnant. I was going to school to do hair, and I found that I was pregnant. And when I found that I was pregnant, I was about a month, about 2 weeks. So when I found out that I was pregnant, he was excited. I was excited. My family was excited, and all of a sudden, about a month later after we got married, things started changing between me and him. He was working. I couldn't work. I was going to school, but I had to resign because I had morning sickness. I got sick. So after that, I couldn't work. I stayed home. I cooked. I cleaned. I did everything. Mind you now, my apartment that I was living in, I still have it. It was 2 hours away. So we had agreed to find another place, but we didn't find another place. He said he promised that, he just had got a good job or whatever. And he started working, but he promised me that once he get enough money or whatever, he was going to find us a place so that I can move from out of the apartment that I had when he first met me. Because just like I said, I believe in us as being married, we need our own privacy. So after that, I found that I was pregnant, and about after 2 months, things started changing after I had got like 2 months in my pregnancy. And it got to the point where domestic violence started being involved, where he started putting his hands on me and physically abusing me. And I'm a type of person that I would fight back, if somebody tried to abuse me, because that's how I was raised from my mother. My mother didn't take that with a man abusing her. So that's how, I seen that example. So I was like, in my mind and in my heart, okay, when this happened, when he first put his hands on me, I retaliated back, because I felt as though that you don't have no rights to put your hands on me. So it got bad to where he used the belt several times. And when he did that, I waited a while to actually open up and tell a family member what was going on. So they told me, hey, you don't need to be going through that. You pregnant. You just, try to work things out. And if it don't work out, you don't need to stay, in that situation. So I made up in my mind, and it was to the point where he was working. I couldn't work because, with the morning sickness, you women know that when you go through morning sickness, it's not a fun thing. You can't do nothing. Your body weak. You can't keep nothing down. And it was bad for me because that was my first child. And I still have that one child. But to make a long story short, I went through that. And then it was times where, he was working and everything. It got so bad to he stopped putting food in the house. So mind you now, I'm sick. Can't work. resigned from school because of, you know, cosmetology. You have a lot of chemicals and stuff like that. So I went to the doctor and they told me, say, either you gonna have to resign from your job career, or you can lose your baby because of the chemicals and stuff. So I was like, oh no, this is my first child, you know, I want my child to be here. So I resigned from being in school. So after that, I'm at home cooking, cleaning, in the midst of me being sick now. Still trying to, there was times that I had to crawl and clean up. There was times that I would be throwing up at the same time, folding clothes, trying to cook when we had food. This before he stopped putting food in the house. And it got so bad when he stopped putting food in the house, and I was like, man, this is so hurtful and painful to me. I can't deal with it. So I always kept in contact, like, with my family, with my grandmother, and they started noticing that, you know, they weren't hearing from me for a while. They would call me, I wouldn't answer. Well, let me tell you women something. When you going through something, don't hold that stuff in. Reach out to somebody that you can trust and that, you know, you can get good advice, godly advice to help you out of the situation. And there was times that some days I didn't eat because I didn't have the money to eat. I didn't have no money to buy food because, mind you, now I didn't have no money coming in, you know, from me, you know, but he was working, he had his money. But when I first moved up there, I had money. But during the time that he lost his job before he started working his good job, I took money and, you know, were paying my bills back at home, you know, trying to keep my apartment, because he started helping me and then he stopped after he found out that I was pregnant, you know, for what, like that 2 months, like I was saying. And so when he stopped helping me, that was where I had to take money from my savings account and pay my own bills. So that's what made me not start having money, because I had to empty out my savings account because I was working at the prison. I had, mind you now, before I got with him, I had money. I had saving funds. I had all of that in my account because I was a hardworking person. I would work. Sometimes I wouldn't even come home because I would work so much overtime and just stay on the job because I worked at the prison. And I saved that money because I didn't have no child. I didn't have no children. So I would help other people, like in my family and stuff like that, when they needed help. And then I would send back home money to my grandmother to help my little sister out in school, because she was still in school. My little baby sister, she was, you know, still in elementary and things like that. But getting back to what I was saying, there was days that I didn't eat. I couldn't eat because I didn't have money to buy food. He used to start, like I said, he was buying food at first, and then he stopped when we started having like disagreements, and, you know, things would come up where he would say that, okay, I gotta work long, and then come to find out as things start changing, and the person that he was catching a ride with at first at work before, when he got his job. When he got his job, you know, he had transportation, but his car started having problems, so he would catch rides with one of his co-workers. So his co-worker that he was catching a ride with was married. So me and his the co-worker that he was riding with, his wife, the guy wife, we became good friends, me and her. So sometimes I'd go over there when I wasn't sick, and I'll, you know, hang out with her. And then I start opening up to her, telling her, you know, because she hadn't been in marriage for years. I'll never forget, she was a nice, sweet lady. And she started helping me and taking me to the doctor and stuff like that, you know, for my checkups and things like that. And then one day we was riding, and she asked me, was I was hungry? And I was like, no, I'm not hungry, but I was hungry because, you know, I didn't have no money or whatever. And he stopped putting food in the house or whatever like that. So one day she took me out to this restaurant and she was like, it's just something about you that I love or whatever like that. So I started opening up to the lady, and then I, talked to her, and she was a Christian lady. And I told her my situation, and she was like, you just got to continue to pray and trust God no matter what, because what you're going through, you're going to be able to be a testimony for somebody else. So I took that in, what the lady was telling me. So we went through that, and I wind up, I think I was around by 2 months and a couple of weeks. 2 months and a couple of weeks. Excuse me. And I wind up calling one of my family members and told them my situation. And they told me blah, 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 how to handle the situation in the right way. So she was like, if you can't continue to, be in that situation like that, you need to go back home. And if he, y'all probably, need to work things out with being in your own house and stuff like that. Mind you, now, he and his other family member house, they coming in when they get ready, being in the midst of our marriage, saying what they got to say, putting things in his mind and things like that. So I was going through it. There was times that I would be like literally in the bed with him on the edge, and he would actually take over the whole bed, just being that type of mean to me, or whatever. So we wind up separating. And so I went back home after this situation happened, and he actually hit me with a belt. And I was like, enough is enough. I can't stand this. I got to go back home because I'm not used to this situation. So one day he was at work, and the lady that, mind you now, that was encouraging me, helping me, she had gave me some funds, and she was like, if you want to go back home, you go back home for a while. And if it, meant for him to come back home where y'all actually home is, and he love you, he'll, turn things around and stuff like that. So I went back home to my apartment, and I'll never forget, all the way home, I cried and I prayed to God, and I was like, God, if this is your will, you show me, direct me, because I don't want to be in no abusive relationship. I've never been in no abusive relationship where a person actually just take advantage of me and put their hands on me. And mind you now, I couldn't lay down and have sex with him because of my morning sickness and the things that I was going through mentally, physically. I was devastated because of the things that I started going through in my marriage. So I moved back home, and I always loved to do hair. So what I did was I found me a part-time job after I had got over my morning sickness. And I went back home to try to get some assistance, to get some help, apply for food stamps or whatever. But they wouldn't give me food stamp because I was married. And when you're married, they don't give you help like that. So I waited a while, and I went to an advocate through my doctor, because I started telling them, some of the things that I was going through. So they gave me an advocate where I can get help and help the people that were the children and family where you going through certain situations and stuff. And then they allowed me to get assistance. So I was able to go to the doctor and stuff like that. After I found that I was pregnant, I had to wait at least, I think it was about 3 weeks or more. And then they gave me assistance after I had separated from him, from the situation, because I seen that he didn't want to be a husband anymore. So I was like, I got to go back home and I got to get some help because I want my baby to live. I'm pregnant. I can't, work like that. So I started like doing hair on the days that I was feeling good and wasn't sick. And I started building clients. And my clients, they came faithfully, and I thank God for that. I just constantly prayed, and they came to my house like to get their hair and stuff done. Sometimes if I was feeling good, I went to their house to get their hair done. And then I started, building friends like that, people that was positive, people that, was praying for me and things like that. So when I went back home, it was like a week later, he came knocking on the door. And in the midst of me being home, I had got a phone call from the lady that helped me, got some transportation. And for me to go back home, I had got a rental car and I moved back to my apartment. The lady called me and she was so devastated and she was crying. And I was wondering why she was crying. She was on the phone and she was like, well, I got some things to share with you and I don't want to hurt you because I know that you're pregnant or whatever. Mind you, now this lady stuck by me, and I know I say that wasn't nothing but a blessing from God. Even though I moved back home, this lady still stayed calling me every day. She would send me finances, her and her husband. They would start sending things for, to make it a little easier for me. And I thank God. I really do. And like I said, this is for to encourage somebody else. Whatever situation, whatever divorce that you're going through, you just got to pray and hang in there. Go and talk to somebody, get some help, and allow God to start helping you, strengthening you to go through the situation. And so when I moved back home, she called me one day, and I never forget, I had just got finished taking me a shower, and she called me. She said, well, I want to share some things with you. She said, and I've been praying and asking God first to give me the words to say to you and how to bring this to you, so that it won't, cause an effect or really a heartbreak, where you break down, like, and she was like, well, I want to share with you, and my husband Ben shared this with me, but I didn't know how to come to you and share this with you, that he seen your husband cheating on you. And when she told me that, I got silent, because I knew from where I was praying that was the case. Because mind you, now, a woman that been through hurt all her life, that been me, knows when something is wrong, something is not right. And I knew that it was more than, him just regular mistreating me. I knew that he had to be seeing somebody else. So the lady wound up coming out telling me that, your husband been cheating on you, and then come to find out, he had got another baby on me, guys. Yes. But when I tell you, God already had prepared me before I actually got the news, before the lady even called me. And that's how I became a single parent. And from then, I started doing hair. I worked part-time at this nursing home after I got, over my morning sickness, and I was able to get up. And then, between time, I was going to the doctor. Thank God for my grandmother. She stayed there with me. Sometimes she'll come over with me and stay like over the weekends and stuff like that to make sure I'm okay. She'll go to the doctor with me, because I had to drive like 45 minutes. 45 to 50 minutes to get to my doctor, because come to find out that I had fluid during my time of pregnancy, and they just wanted to make sure that everything was okay, that the baby was okay and everything like that. So my grandma came to mostly every doctor's appointment. Shout out to my grandma. I really appreciate her during the time that I was going through this. I had people around me that encouraged me, my family members, my aunt, to encourage me to just hang in there. And I would drive back home, which was like 2 hours to get to church. And I stayed going to church, guys. I tell you, I didn't quit. I didn't look back. There was times that when I got off my part-time job, I would get dressed and drive 2 hours up until the time that I was 8 weeks and almost 9 months. I drove faithfully. Tuesday night, Thursday night service, I stayed in church. Sunday, I stayed in church, going to church. I'll drive back 2 hours back home. But just to encourage you guys, I done that because I knew what I was going through. It was just a test. It was just a season for my life that I had to go through. And to know that, I knew God had already prepared me for this. And I knew that God was going to make everything all right if I just continue to stay faithful and just trust him. And he wind up coming to the house, and he opened the door or whatever, and we sat down and we talked. And then he wind up telling me that he's not gonna stay at the house where we was at. Well, I said, okay, well, you don't want to stay, you want to do your own thing or whatever. I can't keep traveling like that. I can't keep going through the situation that I'm going through. So I made up in my mind and purpose in my heart that I was going to stay in the apartment that we had when we got married, and thank God that I did kept my apartment and not give it up. Because I knew, I kind of had a feeling that within myself that things was gonna change. But then again, I was like, no, because I always had, a feeling that, okay, if he really the man that he say he is, he gonna support and provide for me. He gonna do anything in his power, to make sure that we get a place to live, But I'm gonna trust him at this. I'm gonna still keep my apartment, and that's what we agreed on, and that's what I did. So just like I say, he showed up, and then he wound up telling me in my face that he got another woman pregnant. He actually, I'm telling you guys the truth. He got another woman pregnant. Oh, he don't put his mouth on another woman. He told me this to my face. And when he told me that, I broke down and went to crying. Because I'm saying to myself, how could you say that you love me and then you know what you done and then you bringing hurt on top of hurt? And so I told him that, okay, you done that. You don't want to be with me, so you can leave. So he got aggressive again with talking harsh to me, and I didn't like it. So I told him, hey, if you're going to do that, you're not going to come here and mistreat me. And he pushed me to the wall. Mind you now, I'm over 2 months pregnant. And he pushed me to the wall. And when he pushed me to the wall, I lost it. Because I was thinking about my child. I was thinking about my baby. I lost it, guys, to where when he done that, I never forget, I had a broom. And I used that broom to the fullest to protect me and my baby. Because I knew that within my heart that if I didn't protect me and my child, something bad could have happened where I could have lost my child, my baby, something bad would have happened. But God had other things in plan, and then he told me to my face, calling my phone, saying all kind of things that, he with another woman, how could I make it? And I told him these words. It's by the grace of God. Excuse me. It's by the grace of God. And I'm going to trust God no matter what. In this situation, God going to see me through. He going to bring me out. So just to encourage you women, don't give up. Just keep trusting God no matter what. And like I said, for the ones that I can encourage, I pray that it's been a blessing to you all to open your eyes to when you're going through something. Please share it with somebody. Let somebody know that you can trust. And it's not to bring him down because that been years ago. But I just wanted to share how I became a single mother. And then the next video I would be doing on some of the things that I went through as being a single mother. So you guys be blessed. And I pray that this encourage you and uplift you. Please share and subscribe. Let someone know that it's not over. And I love this scripture here. Numbers 23:19. For God is not a man that he should lie. Because whatever he's spoken over my life, it shall come to pass. And you all be blessed. I love you all. Y'all stay encouraged. See you guys next time.